What's good? What's good? What's good, baby? Welcome to episode 4 of the MBS Startem Sitem Fantasy Football Show. Of course, I'm your host and your guru of this fantasy stuff, True X the Sports Junkie. And then I got my partner in crime right there, man. What up, Keo?
Yeah, I'm Keo. I'm the guy that beat him in the MBS league a couple of weeks ago. Um,
Pipe
he
down.
he got lucky in another league. I mean, at one point, come on, now that was luck.
Well, we know is in the when it comes to the MBS league, I'm still above you in the standings. So calm down, calm down. I know we have the
I,
same record, but obviously I'm doing more work than you. Oh, let's But we can go back and forth all day on this because Keel did get his dub. I gotta give him his props for that. But at the end of the day, we're not here to talk about our fantasy leagues. We're here to talk about your fantasy leagues. We're here to help you. So we're going to get right into it. We have a lot of topics to go over, but top 5 fantasy quarterbacks on the day. Q, what we looking like?
really quick on the bottom of the screen, players that are currently active, that was just announced. So, maybe later on the show, True will give you the players that are out today, like guys like Andy Dalton. Top five quarterbacks for today. I'm gonna start off with Andy Dalton, man. I mean, not Andy Dalton, Sam Darnold.
There we go. Let's talk about it.
I got him at number 5. He's had he has at least 21 points in the last two games. I think he'll get more of the workload because no Christian McCaffrey once again. So I think it will be good for him. But I think people look at the Cowboys defense as, a bad defense, but they're actually second in yards allowed as far as passing goes, and they've been playing pretty well with getting be able to create 6 interceptions compared to 7 touchdown passes allowed. So that's pretty good. So, but Andy Dalton, I got him at number 5. You got the weapons like DJ Moore, who's been playing lights out.
Big
So,
facts.
so I definitely got him at number 5. Number 4, I'm going with Kirk Cousins at number 4.
Okay.
Um, Kirk Cousins has scored at least 26 fantasy points in every game. You look at Kirk Cousins, he's when you could say whatever you want to say about him, but when it comes to regular season, he's pretty damn good when it comes to regular season. And Justin Jefferson, looking like he's not having a sophomore slump. So I got him at number 4. Um, Number 3 for me, this might be a huge surprise, but I am going with Jalen Hurts at
That's
number
not
3.
bad. That's not bad.
Uh, Jalen Hurts at number 3 against Kansas City. He could run and pass the ball, and the Chiefs pass defense have not been playing really well, man. They've been really disappointed as of late. So I'm going with Kirk Cousins at no, not Kirk Cousins. I'm Jalen Hurts at number 3. Number 2 for me, um I'm going with Derrick Carr at number 2, man. Derrick Carr has probably been playing one of the best footballs out there, man. And they're undefeated, and Derek Carr, he's looking pretty good, and I think he's going to be in a huge shootout against Herbert and the Chargers on Monday night. My number 1 guy, he's been in my top 5 every single week. Um, True knew about him. You know where I'm going with Matthew Stafford, man, at number 1. I actually traded to get Matthew Stafford because I had Mahomes, and it was hard for me to give up Mahomes. So I was like, man, Stafford, he's been balling 3-0, and they've been gunning that rock, man. With you got the top fantasy wide receiver Cooper Cup, we'll talk about later, but Matthew Stafford ends up as my number one guy to start.
All right, man. I actually ain't mad at your list. For me, I'm gonna say this right now. Matthew Stafford's a must start week in and week out. The dude has been absolutely phenomenal, and I'm not surprised at
Is
all.
he on the elite
Yeah,
start
yeah.
list?
For me, he's elite. Like, come on, man. Like, what he's doing in LA right now is just incredible. I think you start him every week, and you don't even think twice about it. It doesn't matter who they play against. But coming at number 5 for me, I'm going with Jameis Winston. Now, I was kind of down on Jameis Winston, but when I look at the matchup, he got the New York Football Giants. The Giants are banged up right now. They're struggling. They haven't won a game yet. It's in the Superdome. It's going to be rocking for the first game in the Superdome. I think Jameis Winston has a good game today. I don't want to put him higher on the list, even though the Giants are not really a good football team. I just think because he's been I don't want to say scared to play because that's not the word I want to use, but they hadn't let him really just like open up that offense to him. But I do think today they're gonna open it up for him, and that's why I'm gonna put him at number 5. I'm with you though on this guy. Jalen Hurts at number 4. The Chiefs defense has not been good. Jalen Hurts has been good. He gives you, the dual threat, the running and the throwing ability. I think he has a good game today, so I'm going with him as well. Coming at number 3, I'm going Taylor Hanukki. Now, I know a lot of people might be like, what? Are you serious? But this dude got more fantasy points than starters like Jimmy Garoppolo, who I think he's around. Let me make sure. I want to make sure because I looked at it and I was like, wow, this dude got that many fantasy points compared to guys that actually started the season the entire year. But I want to pull it up before I even say it because I don't want to give y'all wrong information. So let me pull it up real quick. And I should have had it, but I want to show you how good Taylor Hanukki's been as far as the quarterback position. All right. So Taylor Hanukki has more fantasy points than Jared Goff, Teddy Bridgewater, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence, Jimmy Garoppolo, Ryan Tannehill, Baker Mayfield, and the dude did not start the first game of the season. Just think about that for a second. Taylor Hanukki did not even start the first game of the season. Now, yes, he did come in. But I like Taylor Hanukki today going up against Atlanta. I think he's a good start. Atlanta's defense, we know, struggles against the pass and the run. So I'm going with Taylor Hanukki at number 3. At number 2, though, and at 1, I'm going to the same game. I know I picked Dallas to win, but I'm going Dak Prescott and Sam Darnold. I think this game may be a shootout. I think we may get to the low 30s, mid 30s. Possibly even into the 40s with this game. I like both offenses a lot. Obviously, Keo spoke to you guys about that earlier. But Sam Darnold, Dak Prescott, to me, are 1 and 2 when it comes to the quarterback position. I expect both guys to have a really big game today. Let's move on to the running back position. Keo, what we doing?
Running back position, I'm going with my guy, Miles Sanders, man.
Like it.
He's averaged 13 yards per carry. Good for PPR points also if you're in those standard leagues. So I got him at number 5. Number 4 for me, I'm going with Leonard Fournette
Wow.
at 4. I think going against New England, I think they're going to be able to run the ball and pass the ball. I don't think there's no Buccaneer that's a running back that has scored a rushing touchdown yet. Um, that's actually surprising. I think Fournette scored 10 points in week 1. Um, against Dallas, and then he had 11 against Atlanta in week 2. So we'll see what he will be able to do. But I like Fournette at number 4 for me. Number three, I'm gonna roll with Clyde Edwards Hilaire, man. I think he had a solid game despite a loss. Um, and he had season highs against the Chargers also. So I think this is a favorable, great matchup for him. And I got him at number three. Number two for me, he had a disappointing game, but I'm rolling with Trey Sermon at number two. I think they're gonna have to run the ball in this game, go back to that formula. So I got Trey Sermon at number two. And number one for me, I'm going with Chuba Hubbard at number one.
Wow. What? Number
hmm
one? Wow. Okay.
To start, I'm not gonna put in, guys like Nick Chubb in there, guys like Dalvin Cook. I see him number one. I was looking at when McCaffrey was out, Mike Davis took over. Mike Davis had some great games last season when he
Thanks.
took over for
Thanks.
McCaffrey. So Chuba Hubbard, I think he's gonna have a very solid game against the Dallas rush defense. So I got him at one.
Okay, number five for me. I'm gonna stick with what you said. I'm with you, Claudella Edwards, man, coming off of a season high, first 100-yard game of the season. I think he continues it. I think they feel like they have to run the football a little bit more if they want to be more successful. Now, he did have a late fumble in that game that did cost them tremendously, but I do like Claudella Edwards in this game. That was actually against the Baltimore Ravens, but going up against Philly, I think he has a big game today. And then I'm with you on this as well. Miles Sanders. I feel like that defense is kind of shaky, baby. I'm going to say Miles Sanders catches the ball at the backfield, but also runs. I think he gets a touchdown today, so I'm going Miles Sanders. At number three, I'm going David Montgomery. Yes, he's going against the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions fight hard, but I feel like the way David Montgomery has came out the gates, I like what I've seen from him, so I think he's going to go at number three. At number two, this guy is actually the third best fantasy running back. Are you kidding me? I would have never guessed this. But DeAndre Swift. Swift has looked really good despite being questionable every single week. This guy has put up big numbers. I think Swift has another good game against Chicago today, so I'm going with DeAndre Swift. Even though this guy is questionable and now he is active, my number one guy is Antonio Gibson, man. Going up against Atlanta today, I think Gibson has a big game. And you know, Keel, I'm scared to start people that are questionable. But when I look at the matchup, I said to myself, man, Gibson versus Atlanta. This could be special. I think Gibson has a monster game today. As long as he doesn't get hurt, I'm going Gibson at number one. Let's move to wide receivers, Keel. What we doing?
Number five for me, I'm rolling with Antonio Brown at number five. He hasn't been able to do nothing since his week one game against the Cowboys. Um, I know he was out with a COVID, some COVID protocols that he wasn't able to play. Um, and I think this is a revenge game for him against the Patriots, man. So with Brady
Uh-huh.
there also, so I got Antonio Brown at number five. Number four for me, this might be a surprise one too. I'm going with Jalen Waddle at number four.
Okay. Justin's gonna be
Against
happy about that.
against the Colts, he's been getting a lot of targets lately. Week three against Vegas, he had 13, and he had 12 catches also. But he's only managed 58 yards. And then the game went to overtime, so I could understand that. So I got him at number four. Number three, I'm going with Odell Beckham at number three, man.
Okay, okay.
Odell had a great showing last week. I'm not gonna say great, but it was pretty good, man.
13, 13.
But getting his feet wet, and I think he'll continue to up the ante with that, especially being the top target. So I got him at number three. Number two, I got him on my team. I'm going with Robert Woods at number two, man. Robert Woods, I think he's due for one of those big games, man. And I think this it's the big game that he's talking about. And the last guy I'm going with at number one, I'm going with Debo Samuel, man. Debo Samuel has been one of the big surprises and steals in the draft. I think Debo will come up huge again against the Seahawks. So I got Debo Samuel rounding off as my number one guy.
All right. Well, my number 5 guy has had 12 targets in the last 2 games. And I'm talking about Michael Pittman Jr. going up against the Miami Dolphins. I feel like this kid, I drafted him in the MBS league. I did trade him. I'm kind of disappointed in that a little bit. But this kid is proven to be the number 1 guy in Indianapolis. So I'm going Michael Pittman Jr. as my number 5 receiver on the day. Coming in at number 4, I got Chris Godwin. I think Tom Brady's going to have a phenomenal day. We didn't talk about Tom Brady because obviously he's elite and you start him every week. But I look at Chris Godwin, I say to myself, man, going up against New England, this could be a big, big, big game for him. Coming in at number 3, I'm going to go both receivers. I mean, I think some people would say that they're elite, but I'm not going to say that quite yet because I'm not there yet. But I think both guys are definitely phenomenal. I'm going both of the Dallas wide receivers. Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. You want to start both of those guys today. No J.C. Horn for the Panthers. C.J. Henderson, he's just coming in. Will he know, their schemes? Or will he be up to par with their schemes? I don't know. I think we could have some meltdowns in that secondary today. So I'm going with both Dallas receivers. You definitely want to start today. Coming in at number 2, I'm going with Scary Terry McLaurin versus Atlanta. I'm telling y'all, man, Atlanta's just not that good. Atlanta's going to have a top 5 pick. The Washington football team, they're going to compete. They're going to compete in every game. They're going to compete for that division in my mind. That defense we know is ferocious, but people are sleeping on Taylor Hanukki. I think this offense is going to move the ball very well today against Atlanta. So I'm going with Scary Terry McLaurin. And at number 1, the guy that's actually the number 2 rated fantasy receiver. And Keo and I were so high on him. So high on him. After the draft, well, when he got drafted initially. I'm not talking about fantasy football. When he got drafted from the University of Clemson, this guy was big time. I actually gave up on him. Going into this season. And I was like, man, I should have never gave up on him. And I'm talking about Mike Williams. Mike Williams, to me, he's been big time so far. And I think he's going to continue that on Monday night versus the Las Vegas Raiders. So if you got Mike Williams, at this point in fantasy football, he's really a must start, but some people are sleeping on him still. Man, go head on and start Mike Williams moving forward. But we're going to talk about him today, so start him today. Let's move on to tight end. I see Keo, Keo got his thing going on, so he'll probably be back in a second. But we're going to move on to tight end, y'all, and I'm going to tell you who to start, man. We're going to stick in that same game. Jared the Crook Cook. Shout out to my boy Duke, man. Jared Cook to me versus Las Vegas. We know that he used to be a Raider. I think that this is the game where, if they try to shut down Mike Williams, if they try to shut down Keenan Allen, I believe he could have a monster game as well. So I'm going with Jared Cook. At number 4, I'm going Robert Tonyan versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they're going to try to stop Davante Adams. They're going to try to stop Aaron Jones. Robert Tonyan could have one of those games that we've seen from last year where he gets the 2 big long touchdowns. So I'm going Robert Tonyan at number 4. At number 3, a guy that I kind of slept on going into the draft, but I think he's had a pretty good season. That's Tyler Higbee for the Los Angeles Rams. I tell you, that's a very high-powered offense over there with Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay's offense. I think Higbee has another good game today versus the Arizona Cardinals, which possibly could be a shootout. You probably want to start everybody in that matchup. Coming at number 2, I'm going Dallas Goedert versus Kansas City. As y'all can see, I have a lot of Eagles because I feel like they're going to be trailing in this game, and they're going to have to fight back to, make it somewhat close. And if they do, they're going to have to throw the ball. I feel like Goddard has a big game. But number 1, I'm sticking in that Atlanta game. It's kind of like I'm just beating on Atlanta. I got Logan Thomas having the number 1 good day at tight end outside of the elite guys, of course, the Wallace and Kelsey. But I got Logan Thomas at number 1.
Yeah, man.
I know you got him. Calm down.
Yeah. Speaking of Goddard. Hopefully, they they will get beat up, but hopefully they can catch up. Unlike Arkansas last night.
Don't do that. Don't be that guy. And then don't even talk about. Don't even mention LSU giving that game away to Auburn. Oh my God.
Okay, my tight ends for number 5. I got Tyler Conklin, um,
I like it.
from Minnesota. He had a solid game week 3. 7 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. I got him at number 5. Number 4 for me, I'm rolling with Dalton Schultz at number 4, man. I think they'll be able to score a lot of points. I think depending on what Slay does against one of those receivers, I think it could open up for somebody like a Schultz. Number 3, I agree with you. I'm going with Tyler Higbee. Tyler Higbee's been getting involved a lot, despite how Cooper Cup's been playing right now. So I got him at 3. Number 2 for me, I'm going with the guy that I'm not high on, but I think he will have a big game. And I'm going with Kyle Pitts at number 2. Um, um, Pitts hasn't been the tight end I thought he would be. Um, Obviously, when you come, high expectations. He had 2 catches. He had season low 3 targets, 2 catches in week 3 against the Giants. Yeah, the Giants. And then week 1 was probably his best game, 5 catches for 56 yards on 8 targets. So I think Matt Ryan is going to be leaning on somebody like a Kyle Pitts. Number 1, I'm going with Logan Thomas, baby. Logan Thomas has scored twice in 3 games this season, and he hasn't been that dominant tight end like people say he would be. But he's yet to top 45 yards in any game. He's averaging 4.7 targets per game. I think he could break out against a team like a Falcons who's allowed tight ends to score in 2 out of their 3 games this year. So I'm going with Logan Thomas at 1.
Okay, well, let's move on to our flex plays, man. Top 5 flex plays on the day according to Keo, man.
Top five flex plays for today. The first guy I'm going with is I'm going with Christian Kirk. Top 5 flex play. Was DeAndre Hopkins struggling and not being the Hopkins that I know. I think Kirk, he has been stepping it up, so I got him as a top flex play. Another flex play that I'm looking for is Michael Pittman Jr. He's been slowly increasing his stock, so I like Michael Pittman at number 4. Um, Another flex play that I really like, I'm going with Corey Davis.
I like it.
Corey Davis against Tennessee. He's spent his past 4 seasons with the Titans, so I think he'll have a solid game. Um, my number 2 flex play that I got, um, I'm gonna go with. Hmm, I'm gonna go with Javonte Williams from the Denver Broncos. I
Okay.
know Melvin Gordon has been, you know, getting that work, but I think Javonte Williams will do some damage for them. And another top flex play that I really do like, um, I would consider fantasy owners to go with Sony Michelle. Daryl Henderson, he got a rib injury. Going against the Cardinals in Week 4, I think Sony Michelle has a chance to get some huge workload for fantasy owners out there. So those are my top flex plays.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with somebody that you're going to love what I'm about to say. My number 5 guy is Tony Pollard. Tony P. I like
Tony.
this guy, man.
Tony.
He's big play. When you get enough of Zeke, then you get this speed burst guy, change of pace guy. I like Tony P today. I think he could have a big game against Carolina. So he's coming at number 5 for me. At number 4, I'm with you. I like Corey Davis versus his former team, the Tennessee Titans. I think Corey Davis gets enough targets. I think that Zach Wilson loves throwing to him, and I think he might get in the end zone today. So he comes in at number 4 for me. At number 3, this guy has really hurt fantasy owners up until this point, but today all that changes. I know Keel's not going to like this one, but I got Robbie Anderson scoring today versus the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to hit him for a big play today. I think he gets into the end zone. Robbie Anderson's worth the flex play today. I think he has not say a really big game, but a very decent game, plus 10 plus fantasy points, and it may be even bigger than that. Coming in at number 2, I got Antonio Brown. I know you had him as a receiver. I had Godwin, but I think him, Brady, and company are going to have a big game today. Even though Antonio Brown missed last week, you want to go ahead and start Antonio Brown in your flex spot. He could have a really good game today, and I think he could be around 15 to 20 fantasy points in my mind, so I'm going Antonio Brown. But my number 1 flex play, I know everybody's excited about this guy. I am starting him as well. But we have to remember, he's not Christian McCaffrey. He is going to be good. I think he's going to be productive. I'm putting Chuba Hubbard right there at my number 1 flex play. I'm not confident putting him as my running back 1 or 2, but in a flex spot, I think it could be really good. And don't sleep on Royce Freeman. I know Royce Freeman didn't have the best game last week, but Royce Freeman could take some touches away from him. He's more of the physical back. So they might do like a dual timeshare type thing. And that's why I'm a little concerned about Chuba Hubbard. But I do like the kid. I've been liking him since Oklahoma State. So I expect him to have a good game. And that's why he comes in at number 1 in my flex play. All right, Keo, we're going to go through the kickers real quick. Top 5 kickers on the day to you.
Top 5 kickers for the day with me. I'm going to go with I'm going to start off with Greg Zerline at number 5 for me. I think Zerline, he's been playing pretty well as of late. He had that huge clutch kick that he was. So I got him at 5. Number 4, I'm going with Greg Joseph from Minnesota. Greg Joseph, very solid. Averaging 6 a game. So I got a number 4. Number 3, I'm going to Tennessee Randy Bullock, man. I think he could be very solid for fantasy owners also. And my number 2 guy, I'm gonna go with Chris Boswell from Pittsburgh. I think they're gonna struggle, but they're gonna find a way to get a lot of scoring opportunities. So Boswell. And my number 1 guy, I'm going with Daniel Carlson at number 1, averaging close to 8 a game. So Carlson from the Raiders.
All right, now look, shout out to my boy Jarvis, shout out to Q in the chat, man. We definitely appreciate both of y'all. But kickers can win you a game. We saw that last week with Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker basically with that 60-yard field goal, 66-yard field goal, gave somebody a touchdown, basically. That was a touchdown. So pay attention, man. Don't sleep on the kicking position. This could actually help you win your fantasy league. Come at number 5 for me is Matt Gay. Come on, man. It's the Rams offense. You definitely want to start their kicker. I just expect them to score a lot of points week in and week out. You pretty much want to start him every week, but we don't have elite kickers outside of Justin Tucker, so I'm going to go with Matt Gay. Coming at number 4, I'm with you, Daniel Carlson versus the Chargers. I think that you can get big points right here. Daniel Carlson got a big leg, man, and he can definitely get you a win this week. I can see him hitting maybe a couple of 40-yard field goals in this game, which is 8 points right off the bat, not to even include the touchdowns and extra points he'll get. So go with Daniel Carlson. At number 3, I got Harrison Butker. At one time, I thought he was elite, but for whatever reason, the Chiefs go for it a lot on 4th down. So I'm not going to say he's elite. He's definitely one of the better kickers in the game. But when it comes to fantasy, I'm not going to say he's an elite fantasy kicker, but I would start him today versus Philadelphia. At number 2 is Ryan Suckup. I just think that this is going to be a big blowout. I know everybody's excited about Brady returning to New England, but I think this is going to be a blowout, a massacre. I expect Tampa Bay to blow him out. I expect Ryan Suckup to get probably around 10 fantasy points in this game. So I'm going Ryan Suckup. And number 1 will be the biggest blowout on today, in my opinion. And that is the Buffalo Bills and Tyler Bass versus the Houston Texans. This game will be over by halftime in my mind. Josh Allen and that offense has really picked it up as of late, and I think they continue that today. This game could get really, 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 really ugly today. I got Tyler Bass as my number 1 kicker going away. I think he's clearly the number 1 kicker. Let's go to top 5 defenses. Shout out to Jarvis. You're absolutely right, and that's why we're going to talk about defenses right now. Who's your top 5 defenses on the day, Keo?
My top 5 defenses for the day. I'm number 5. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins at 5 against the Colts. 4, I'm going with the Packers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 3, I'm going with the Washington football team at number 3. Number 2, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the Seattle Seahawks defense at number 2.
Wow, versus your Niners. I say your Niners. I know it's not your Niners. Your area.
And then number 1 is the clear number 1. I'll take anybody that plays against the New York Jets. And I got the Tennessee Titans at number 1 to start.
You know what? You're not. Your list is not bad, but you left off 2 teams that you definitely have to have. Listen to me. If your waiver wire has these 2 teams in it, you better go pick them up right now. So let's get to it. My number 5 defense. I know I kind of bashed them a little bit, but
you did.
Hold on. I think that the Chiefs get a couple of picks on Jalen Hurts. They could get a strip sack, fumble touchdown. They could score on special teams. So I'm going with the Chiefs at number 5. I'm not super confident in that one. That's why they're at 5. But I think they're going to surprise a lot of fantasy owners today. I think they're projected to get 4 fantasy points. I will promise you to get more than 4 fantasy points on today. Coming in at number 4, I got the Saints versus the Giants. The Giants will be without Sterling Shepard. They will be without Darius Slayton. And they already struggle offensively. So they'll be missing their best offensive wide receiver. I know Kenny Galladay signed there, but so far Sterling Shepard has been clearly their best wide receiver. I think the Saints get it done, especially in the Superdome, as their first home game in the Superdome. At number 3, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to wash the New England Patriots tonight. It's going to get ugly. The Bucs are a team that anybody, if you have them as a defense, you're going to be happy tonight. They're going to get 10 plus fantasy points tonight versus Mac Jones and company. So I'm going with the Bucs. At number 2, you are correct. The Titans are up there versus the Jets. I'm with you. They're going to get a lot of fantasy points as well, but they're not my number 1 defense. I just told y'all the number 1 defense to me is the Buffalo Bills. Have y'all not watched them the last 2 weeks? They have been completely dominant. Josh Allen and company has been great offensively, but their defense has been nasty. They are going to destroy the Houston Texans today. I got Buffalo going away as my number 1 defense. And I'll even say this. I believe in Buffalo so much, they're a stud of the week nomination. Look at your defense. Come on, man. What you doing, X? That's how much I like them today. All right, Keo, top 5 waiver wire pickups on the day. What we doing? You can help somebody today who they should pick up.
Top 5 waiver wire pickups. I'm not saying you should start them, but I think some guys are, qualified to start. Number 5 for me, I think Curtis Samuel. He comes back from injury. I think he's definitely going to help that team out. Give Hanukki more options with Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas. So I got him at 5. Number 4 for me, I'm going with Tim Patrick at number 4 from the Denver Broncos, man.
Okay.
Patrick caught 5 of his targets for 98 yards and produced but did produce a fantasy showing without a touchdown. I think he's dependent, especially with Hamler out. Then you got Jerry Judy out also. So I think he becomes a huge target for that team. So I got him at number 4. Number three for me, I'm going with Emmanuel Sanders at number 3. I think he's going to be huge for somebody like a Josh Allen. Last week, he caught 5 passes on 6 targets, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns, 14 targets in the first 2 weeks. So I like him at 3. And number 2 for me, I'm going with Zach Moss at number 2, man.
Mm.
Zach Moss, he's back. Moss, he's gonna benefit for the team. Against Washington, he had 13 touches for 77 yards of receiving touchdowns. He's 53% owned in fantasy leagues right now, man. So I think he could be a huge pickup for fantasy teams out there. And I'm pretty sure people have picked him up, but I think my number one guy to pick up is Chuba Hubbard. McCaffrey's out for the next game or two, so Hubbard becomes a potential RB2 flex, whatever you want to put him at. So Hubbard, 52 yards, 11 carries, 27 yards receiving, 3 catches, 5 targets, and I like Chuba Hubbard. And like you said, Royce Freeman will be involved also, but I like Chuba Hubbard as a top pickup. And you could pick up Royce Freeman also.
Okay, man. That I'm gonna give you 5 guys that's not owned in 50% of leagues, or under 50% of leagues. So coming at number 5, let's start with Colin Johnson, the former Texas Longhorn. He's probably gonna get the start today with Kenny Golladay with all the injuries in New York. I think this kid could be good, man. He has the wingspan, he has the height. I think he could give the Saints some trouble in their secondary. We know Marshall Lattimore is probably going to be matched up against Golladay, but don't sleep on Colin Johnson. If you need a receiver to pick up today, I think Colin Johnson could be a decent play on today. Now, I'm not saying moving forward he's going to be great, but for today, he could be decent. Coming at number 4, I'm going O.J. Howard. O.J. Howard. No Rob Gronkowski. We've kind of forgot that O.J. Howard was a first-round draft pick. A lot of expectations, kind of like Kyle Pitts was in Atlanta. I think O.J. Howard now has a chance to say, you know what? Tom Brady loves throwing to his tight ends. This is my opportunity with no Gronk to really have a good day today. So I think O.J. Howard's a really good pickup. Number 3 is probably the guy that's probably I'm not as sold on him as some people, but he's in a great situation, and I'm talking about Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon gets signed to the Kansas City Chiefs. That's an interesting situation. I don't know if he's still that Josh Gordon. I don't think he's that Josh Gordon. I know he's not the Josh Gordon from Cleveland. But in that offense, with those weapons, he could be valuable down the line. So I would actually, maybe if you have a roster spot that you can fill up, I would probably go pick him up. The 2-and-1 guy I've been hyping on this show. I've been telling Keo about him for a long time. At number 2, I'm going Hunter Renfro. I can't even believe that this guy is still not owned in over 50% of the leagues. Hunter Renfro is Mr. Flex. That's what I'm going to call him from now on. When I refer to Mr. Flex, I'm referring to Hunter Renfro. This dude is the second most targeted person on the Las Vegas Raiders team, only behind Darren Waller. Last week, he had 18 fantasy points in all PPR leagues. I like this kid a lot, but my number 1 guy, I keep telling y'all, man, if you got a good quarterback or even a decent quarterback that you can trade him. Get something valuable for him. Then go to your waiver wire. A guy that's not even owned in 25% of the leagues goes by the name of Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a good fantasy quarterback. Yeah, he's in a good system. Go pick him up and play Sam Darnold. I'm going Sam Darnold as my number 1 waiver wire pickup. Now, before we get to our next one, y'all, if you have questions, the games are about to start in a little over 30 minutes. So ask your questions. We're gonna get to that in a second. But right now we're going to store and stash. Kill. Who's somebody that you want to pick up right now? And maybe in the long run, it'll be a great pickup for you. You're on mute, boss.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I'm going with who you just said. I'm going with Josh Gordon. I think he'll be very productive for the team, especially how they run that offense. And they have yet to have that second receiver to step up because Tyreek Hill's been shut out the last 2 games under 10 points right now.
Yeah, you should trade him, Q. I mean, just trade him to me, man. He's a bum.
No, not um oh, somebody give me a second.
Oh, you good? I'll go then. If you're not ready, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say Van Jefferson. Store and stash Van Jefferson. With that offense, you want to pick up Van Jefferson because Van Jefferson, and I'm not wishing anything. Obviously, I don't want nobody in the Rams to get hurt. I picked them to win the Super Bowl. The Rams, if something happens to Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods, Van Jefferson enters that starting position at 1 or 2. Now, he already plays a lot at the 3. But if he becomes the number 1 or number 2 receiver at any point in this season, this guy could change your fantasy world. I got Van Jefferson just sitting on my bench. Keo knows. And I'm not going to drop him at all.
Yeah,
like, there's no
I'm going.
way I'm dropping Van Jefferson.
I'm going Josh Gordon, though.
I'm not mad at that. And then I'm going to throw out one, and I'm not proud to say this, but I'm going to say Taysom Hill. If Jameis Winston don't get better, man, Taysom Hill may take over. I think Winston's I think he's going to do better today, but we'll see. With that being said, Kiel, before we get to our social media questions and the chat questions, let's go to the starter sit-em portion of the show. I'm going to give you 5 guys. You tell me if you would start them or sit them. Chat, y'all can tune into this. Y'all can give y'all answer as well. Then Kiel give me 5 guys and ask us, should we start or sit them? Kiel, I'll go first. Teddy Bridgewater versus the Baltimore Ravens. Are you starting them or sitting them?
I'm sitting him. Ravens defense pretty solid. I think they're gonna struggle moving the ball around. I think they'll get some, good enough plays, but I think he will struggle with the most part as far as a quarterback. So definitely sit.
Okay. Are you starting or sitting James Conner versus the Rams? He's coming off of an 18-point fantasy football day.
One game against an elite defense like the Rams, I'm sitting him.
Okay. We know that Le'Veon Bell was activated. Are you starting or sitting Tyson Williams versus the Denver Broncos?
I'm starting him. I think he's been pretty consistent since J.K. Dobbins has been out. So Tyson Williams, I'm definitely starting him.
Okay. Marquez Callaway finally had a decent game last week for the Saints, but the first 2 weeks were horrendous. He's going up against the New York Giants. Are you starting or sitting him today?
I'm going to start him, man. I think the Saints, they got to throw the ball more if they want to have any type of chance of success. And I think this is a great matchup for him to for Jameis to get the ball to him. So I'm going to say start him.
Okay, and last but not least, Curtis Samuel's supposed to be playing, man. If he plays, are you starting him or sitting him?
I'm starting him, but the most I probably would do would be at a flex. So that's where I'm at with him.
Okay. Now you can give your 5, boss.
First guy, I'm going with Ben Roethlisberger.
Nah, hell no. I'm sitting that fool. Hell no. He ain't gonna mess it up for me. I'll go pick up Sam Darnold. I'll start Sam Darnold. I'll start Jameis Winston. I will start somebody else with no Claypool today. I think that's all bad. I'm not confident in the way Big Ben's playing. I think it's time to start looking at the future, man. If that's Dwayne Haskins, whoever it's going to be, Big Ben to me is washed.
Wow. Okay. All right. Are you starting or sitting Kenyon Drake.
Ooh, Kenyon Drake. I know Josh Jacobs is banged up. He might play, might not. Peyton Barber had a big game last week. I'm going to say in a flex play, I would consider starting him. Consider. If it's PPR. If it's not PPR, I'm not playing Kenyon Drake. If it's PPR, I might play him in a flex play.
Okay, all right. Third guy I'm going with is Miles Gaskin.
Against Indianapolis, I'm going to flex play. I'll start him. I'll start him as a flex. I'm not big on Miles Gaskin no more. I don't like what they're doing in Miami, but worth a flex play, I'll do that.
All right, my fourth guy. This guy is off to a very rough start as of late compared to last season, and I'm talking about Robbie Anderson.
Oh, I'm starting him today for sure, for sure. Robbie Robbie Anderson's gonna score against your Cowboys today. He's going to score. Mark my words. If there was one person I'm telling you that's gonna score today, it's Robbie Anderson. They will focus so much on DJ Moore today that Robbie Anderson's gonna beat him over the top today. Robbie Anderson will score. I'm definitely starting him.
Okay, my last guy I'm going with, he's already been announced as a starting quarterback, and I'm talking about Justin Fields.
Ooh. Last week he was my dud of the week. I think I got that right. He had a terrible game. Going up against Detroit today, that's a favorable matchup. I'm going to say start him. He's worth the start. He's a decent. He won't give you like no monster game, but he'll give you a decent game. He could get to between 18 and 20 fantasy points. So I'm going to say you start him.
Okay, that's my 5.
All
Start
right,
him or sit him.
Well, now we're going to go, before we get to the questions and the you know what everybody's waiting for, start of the week, dud of the week, sleeper of the week, buy or sell, okay? So give us a player that you would go buy right now. Maybe somebody's thinking about making a trade, but they're on the fence about it. Who's somebody that you would go out and trade for right now that their trade value may not be as high as it maybe it once was, or people are kind of down on him? Who would you go out there and buy?
Cooper Kupp, man. You kidding me?
Man, nobody's giving you Cooper Kupp right now.
No, you're asking me a player that I would go buy. No,
Yeah,
he wasn't to start, but
no,
I'm saying, but to start the season, he wasn't as high. He was in later the rounds of the draft.
Okay.
So that's a player that I would go by.
I would go by Clyde Edwards Hilaire. I think that you can get him for a nice bargain right now, and I think it's going to pan out in the future for you very well. You could probably give up somebody. I saw it in our league. Somebody gave up Tyson Williams and got Clyde Edwards Hilaire. That's a great trade for anybody who got Clyde Edwards Hilaire. I know he started off extremely rough, but I think he's going to start picking it up, pass the catching, and running the football. That's who I would say. Who would you sell right now? Who would you be like, you know what, I'm done with this guy. It's over with. I don't want him on my team no more. Get him out of here.
Amari Cooper.
Wow. Don't do my dog like that.
Shut up. Calm down. You know you want to trade him too. I would move on from Amari Cooper. I think he'll still have solid games, but I think they're leaning more on CD Lamb right now, like I thought it would, as far as targets, third down situations. Like it's CD Lamb, man. Amari's gonna get his targets, but that's a stock that I'm going down on. I could see why you're trying to move him also, so I'm gonna say Amari Cooper.
Okay, so I know it's gonna sound bad on my part, but the person I would sell, because I feel like, and not because he's not good, he's played phenomenal, but I don't think he can keep it up the entire season. That's just me, though. Keo may feel different. And I'm talking about Derrick Carr. I would trade Derrick Carr
Come on, man.
Right now, Derrick Carr is the 9th best fantasy quarterback. He's better than Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Sam Darnold, who I just mentioned I love. He's better than Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers today. And I just think to myself, if I can get something for Derrick Carr that's worth value, I can go pick up somebody like Sam Darnold. I can play Jameis Winston. I'm cool with that. If somebody is super high on Derrick Carr, I would let them have him, even though, I think he's a good quarterback. I think he can still finish in the top 10 for the rest of the year. It's just the value he's at right now. I don't know if he can continue that for the remainder of the season. So I would actually sell Derrick Carr.
All right.
All right. Now, let's get to social media. Y'all put y'all questions in there. We'll tell you who we think you should start or sit. I see my boy Scott said he got Watkins is my flex this week. Shout out to you, man. Okay, Keo. Jonathan wants to know. This is from Facebook. Chuba Hubbard or Darrell Henderson? Who you starting?
I'm going with Chuba Hubbard, man. Darrell Henderson, he's not 100%. Like I said, he got a little rib injury. I think Sony Michel's going to take a huge workload on it. So I'm going with Chuba Hubbard with no McCaffrey there. So
I'm going with you as well, but I will say this. If Darrell Henderson was 100% healthy, I would start Henderson over Hubbard just because I like the offense a little bit more. Even though I love the Carolina Panthers offense, I think Royce Freeman could take some touches from him. But being that Henderson's banged up, I'm going Chuba Hubbard. All right, Keo. Tyler from Facebook wants to know, Cordero Patterson or Brandon Ayuk? Who you starting today?
I'm going with Brandon Ayuk, man. Brandon Ayuk, first round pick from them last year. I think they got to get him involved in the game. Debo, he's gonna get some attention, especially they see them going to Debo a lot in the past couple games, and then Kittle's banged up also, so I'm not even sure if Kittle's gonna play. I think he is gonna play, but Ayuk has to they got to get him the ball, so I'm going with Ayuk.
Okay, no, I'm going Cordero Patterson. I don't think people realize how good Cordero Patterson's been for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm pulling it up right now. This dude plays receiver, plays running back for that team. This dude has had 16 and 21 in the last 2 games. To me, they're giving him the ball. They're letting him get his touches. He's kind of playing like that Percy Harvin role. That's what we always say. Percy Harvin at Florida role where he lined up pretty much everywhere. So I'm going Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, keyword. You said the Atlanta Falcons, so that rules everything out the question.
Brandon Ayuk hasn't done anything for me, so I'm not picking Brandon Ayuk, bro. That dude hasn't been that good, bro. So I ain't going. As far as your question, Jarvis, shout out to my dog Jarvis, man. I'm definitely going Chuba Hubbard in this situation. I feel like Cordero Patterson's taking touches from Mike Davis, and then like Keo says, the Atlanta Falcons. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm taking Hubbard also, Jarvis. That's my guy, and I got him as number 1 guy to start.
Big facts. Okay, Logan from Facebook wants to know, Mike Evans or Scary Terry McLaurin in a PPR league. He said Gronk is out, so he's kind of like thinking about Mike Evans. I don't know who his other receiver is. Maybe he has a Davante Adams type guy that he's like, I'm starting him, so I want to know who should I start my other receiver, Mike Evans or Scary Terry.
I'm going with Mike Evans, man, over Terry McLaurin. I just like Mike Evans a little bit more better, and I trust the quarterback that's throwing Mike Evans the ball.
I'm gonna go Scary Terry. I just think that he's the number 1 guy in Washington. It's no disrespect to Mike Evans, and Mike Evans could clearly win this one. But I'm gonna go Scary Terry. I just think that he gets too many targets in Washington. And I think he's going to get in the end zone today versus Atlanta. So I'm going Scary Terry. All right. Ryan from Facebook wants to know, start Lamar Jackson or Derrick Carr?
Derrick Carr, man. Derrick Carr, man, against the Chargers. I think the game will be a shootout. I think he could get 25 to 30 points on Monday night. So I'm going with Derrick Carr in this one.
I'm actually gonna go Lamar Jackson. I thought I would go Carr initially, but I'm gonna go Lamar Jackson just because of his running ability. And I don't know how good Denver is. Denver has not beaten anyone this year. If Denver proves it today, I'll give respect to Denver. But right now, they've beat 3 teams that I don't even think have a win this year. So I'm gonna go Lamar Jackson. Ryan also wants to know. He just put this. Jonathan Taylor or Mike Evans in the flex?
Um, um, I'm going with Jonathan Taylor. I think, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, Jonathan Taylor. He's a must start. What standard? What's the standard league?
He didn't tell me. He just said Jonathan Taylor or Mike Evans flex. That's all he put.
I think it. I think for me to answer the Scott's comment, I think it doesn't matter if it's standard league or PPR league. I'm taking him.
Shout out to Scott, man. I'm with you, boss. It's definitely a home game for the Raiders in LA versus the Chargers. I agree with you, man. The stands are definitely gonna be lit for Raider fans. We already know that. But shout out to you. I'm with you, Key. No, I'm not with you, Key. I'm taking Mike Evans. Are you kidding me? Jonathan Taylor is not what everybody hyped him up to be pre-draft. I told people that was probably my dud going into the draft. I wasn't high on him like everybody else was. I think there's too many running backs in Indianapolis, and I don't like Indianapolis' offense. So I'm definitely going Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans has a much better chance to score today. Last question, unless there's somebody puts it in the chat. Alex from Facebook wants to know. And I'm doing all Facebook because I normally always do Twitter. But Twitter, I promise you I'll come off of here today. And before the game start, I'll answer y'all questions. Devontae Smith or Kenny Golladay? What we doing? It's a non-PPR league. Which one you going with?
I'm going with Devonte Smith. They'll do their catch up. Devonte, top pick, former Heisman. I gotta go with Devonte Smith.
I'm going with Devontae Smith as well. Kenny Golladay is probably going to be blanketed by Marshawn Lattimore the entire day. I think that could be rough for him, so I'm with you. All right. Here we go, y'all. Hey, I texted him, man. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, come on, man. The same guy that picked Mook to win 2-1. Okay.
All right, Keo. Let's go to our dud, and sleeper of the week. Let's start with sleeper. Don't look now. Who's your sleeper of the week to have a big game today?
I'm going with Taylor Hanukki as a sleeper of the week.
I like that.
I think he's going to be very solid today. Favorable matchup against the Atlanta Falcons, and I got Taylor Hanukki as sleeper of the week.
If you've tuned into the entire show, you know where I'm going with this. A lot of people can't guarantee you a touchdown, but I'm going to guarantee you a touchdown. My sleeper of the week is Robbie Anderson. I'm telling y'all, people have given up on him. Don't give up on him today. You're going to be mad that you benched him if you do. He will score today. That is my guarantee of the day. Robbie Anderson is my sleeper of the week. Okay, Keo, the dud of the week. Bum, bum, bum. Who's your dud of the week this week? Last week, mine was Justin Fields. Justin Fields played horrible. You wasn't on the show last week, so we don't know. So, Keo, who's your dud of the week this week?
Russell Wilson is my dud of the week this week.
God. Oh, my God.
He will go under. He will barely throw 200 yards. I think DK Metcalf will get shut down by the secondary from this 49er defense. I do have the Seahawks winning. It's going to be a smash mouth type of game, and I'm taking Russell Wilson as the dud of the week.
Okay, so my dud of the week is a guy that's been balling, absolutely balling, gets a lot of targets. I'm going Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks struggles today versus Buffalo. Buffalo shuts him down, shuts down that offense. Brandon Cooks will not score today versus Buffalo. Shoot, it might not even be just Brandon Cooks. The Houston Texans may not score today. I got Brandon Cooks as my dud of the week. And Wes, don't take him out your lineup because I know you tuned in right now. I know you got him in your lineup. Don't try to go bench him now because I'm saying that. Roll with your guy. I got Brandon Cooks as my dud of the week. Okay, Keo.
Wow.
Who's your stud of the week? I'm gonna be honest with you. My stud of the week would be Tom Brady if I didn't pick him already. But we already picked him, so we can't pick him again. Who's your stud of the week on today?
My stud of the week. I'm going with Tyreek Hill, man, against the Philadelphia Eagles, man. Sorry, Chris, man. Tyreek Hill, he's had under 10 points the last 2 games. Hasn't reached his average. I'm going with Tyreek Hill as my stud of the week.
All right, y'all heard it there. Chris, shout out to you, man. Shout out to Chris. Yes. And I'm not even really a betting man when it comes to point spreads. I'm almost positive the Buffalo Bills are going to beat Houston by more than 17 points today. I like that. I think Buffalo destroys them today. So, obviously, it happens opposite of what you think. But I think I'm feeling confident about that. My stud of the week. Oh, Lord, here we go. We don't start this stuff. My stud of the week is Wes about to get mad. He's going to be like, oh, you being at home. I'm not. I like the matchup. Antonio Gibson finally breaks out. He's going to have a monster game. I'm thinking 25 fantasy points plus. I think he destroys the Atlanta Falcons. I think Washington gets this dub versus Atlanta. And he's going to have a monster day running and receiving as long as he doesn't get hurt. That's my one concern, but I love the matchup on today. So I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson versus Atlanta. With that being said, Keo, we got to get to Twitter and start answering some questions. So let's get to these shout-outs, man.
Yo, shout out to you. Good to be back. Shout out to the whole chat, everybody that tunes and supports the show. Make sure you go check out tomorrow, man. The MBS Power Rankings in Battle that will be dropping tomorrow. It's gonna be crazy tomorrow, man. And make sure you go to go subscribe to the MBS Central channel. Subscribe to Duminati TV. Yeah, man, we out.
Well, shout out to my dog Q. Shout out to my dog Chris, 40 Boy Q, Jarvis, Wes, Scott, everybody that was in the chat, man. I don't want to leave nobody out. I just want to make sure I caught everybody and anybody that, shows some love to the brand, man. We definitely appreciate y'all. If you're not subscribed, please go subscribe. If you are subscribed, tell a friend, man. We working hard over here. If you like sports, you like battle rap, you like pop culture, we got shows for all of that. So make sure y'all stay locked in, man. We're going to keep dropping hot material for y'all. With that being said, if you lose today, you have nobody but to blame but yourself. But if you win, like Drake said, man, thank us later. This has been the MBS Startem Sitem Fantasy Football Show. That's my main man, Keo. I'm your boy, Trex, the Sports Junkie, and we are out. Peace.